Before you watch Marvel's Secret Invasion on Disney Plus, I'm going to give some background info on the comic this series is based on, as well as some things that are very different in the show when compared to the comic. So if you enjoyed this video today, feel free to like and subscribe for future Marvel content. So I'll start by talking about the comic event. So one of the biggest changes between the show and the comic is that the comic is much more an Avengers level event and not a Nick Fury specific story. So in the comics, Tony Stark finds out that Elektra has been a Skrull for an unknown amount of time and realizes that the Skrulls could be anyone anywhere on Earth preparing for a fight. So during the same time frame, a spaceship crash lands in the Savage Land, and when a group of Avengers and Secret Avengers go to investigate it, Tony Stark gets infected with a technovirus which incapacitates him, and a group of Marvel heroes come out of the crashed ship acting as if they have been captured and they don't know what's going on. So, however, some of the heroes who came to the Savage Land to investigate think that they're Skrulls because there are some duplicates, like there's a Spider-Man that comes out of the ship even though a Spider-Man went to the Savage Land to investigate and stuff. So it leads to a big clash where nobody knows who's a Skrull and who isn't. So meanwhile, a Skrull in New York City pretends to be Sue Storm and opens up a portal to the Negative Zone in the Baxter Building, and a Skrull armada starts to come down on New York, while the SHIELD helicarrier and the Sword space station also become destroyed as a coordinated Skrull attack. So just from everything that I've said about Secret Invasion so far, it's clear that it's a much bigger event than the show will seemingly be, everything we've seen right now, but that doesn't inherently make it a bad thing. The way they're approaching the Secret Invasion Disney Plus show involves a much more grounded spy movie type of feel, which can really work with this type of story. So one of the best aspects of this story was not knowing who was really a Skrull and who was not, because even in the comics there were instances where there were Skrulls who were masquerading as heroes, but they didn't even know they were Skrulls. They thought they were like the legitimate hero identity. So without spoiling everything that happens in the Secret Invasion comic story, at one point they figure out who is a Skrull and who is not from Reed Richards developing a weapon that essentially negates the Skrulls' shape-shifting abilities and reverts Skrulls back to their Skrull selves within a certain proximity of the weapon. So it's entirely possible that something similar can be used in the show, but that obviously remains to be seen. So this is not all to mention the fact that currently the Skrulls in the comics and the Skrulls in the MCU are very different in terms of how they're portrayed. So in the Secret Invasion comics, the Skrulls were the villains of the story and were seen as bad, which is clearly still somehow going to be the case in the show, but so far in the MCU, the Skrulls have been portrayed in a favorable light. So as far as we can tell in the show, we can see Talos working with Nick Fury against whatever the threat might be. We see a scene in a trailer where Talos gets physical with someone, but he becomes surrounded by other Skrulls who make themselves known by morphing into the same guy Talos is about to get physical with. So it's possible this could be implying a rogue Skrull group that has some type of evil intentions directed at Earth for an unknown reason currently. So overall, it's hard to say where the story direction will go with the show because of the nature with how the Skrulls have been depicted in the MCU thus far. But one thing that I would say to expect is that at least one hero that we know from the MCU will most likely be revealed to be a Skrull in the show. Maybe the hero wasn't necessarily a Skrull the whole time in the MCU, and maybe the hero was captured at one point and then the Skrull took their place. But if I were to bet on who that might be, I would probably say War Machine Rhodey. So because he is the only, as far as I can tell right now, he's the only big-time hero besides Nick Fury who we know to be in the show so far, so I think that would be an interesting twist later on in the series to reveal that Rhodey is actually a Skrull. So I'll also be excited if other heroes make cameos in the show that they are keeping under wraps, but obviously that remains to be seen as well. At the end of the day, even though this show is going to take a very different route than its comic counterpart, I'm still excited to get a serious, mature MCU spy series because I've been waiting for an MCU movie or show that feels like a Captain America movie again. So comment down below if you're excited about Secret Invasion, and if you enjoyed this video today, feel free to like and subscribe for future Marvel content, and I appreciate you for watching the video.